Good morning, good afternoon, good day, good whenever you watch this episode of the King Kong Trail. My name is Amy Vandiver, and I'm your host for this episode, sitting alongside my husband, who's going to be co-hosting, and we have some very special guests in the studio today with us. We have Kenny and Michelle Oleson from Happy Hippy Homestead.
Got it.
Perfect.
All right. Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
We're happy. Happy hippie.
Yeah.
Could I
thanks
have
for
you
having us.
come a little closer to the microphones?
Sure.
Yep.
All right.
It'll pick it up. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Very cool. So, Happy Hippy Homestead.
Yes.
And that is a new venture that you guys have been doing on Facebook, but I think you guys have been at it for quite a while, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's got a story behind it.
Oh, what's the story?
So I lived south of town with my boys, and we had 3 acres and a nice old home, and that burned to the ground in 2012. But we had border collies, and they have to have space to run, and there just weren't a lot of other properties available. So I found this half acre in town, moved on to that, and we've been there since then. And then Michelle moved in
In 2018.
Yep.
So you and the boys had been there for about 6 years.
Yep.
Yep.
And then the
And-
half acre property next door to us came up for sale, and the owners approached us.
About it will be 2 years in May.
Yeah.
Coming up on
Yep.
about 2 years. Yeah.
So we grabbed that with the idea that we were going to turn it into an Airbnb and live right next door. And we ended up moving into the new house and Airbnb in the old one, but we're in a unique position where we have homes over an acre inside the city of Burlington. And so we've got our raised beds, we grow potatoes, corn, chickens. We just ordered bees. I'm so excited
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
you-
I got excited. What?
Did you get registered for your class?
No, I forgot to get registered for my class, so remind me.
The one in Donaldson.
Yes,
that's
are you
coming
guys
up.
doing that?
We saw it, but I wish it was closer. I think that might be a little challenge for us.
Okay.
But we have a bee mentor. Brittany Jacobs, the library director here in town, is kind of hand-holding us
Yeah.
through this. So we bought a hive, the whole setup, suit, all the stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and ordered our bees, just
And
2 days
honestly,
ago.
I'm kind of holding out to see if they don't have another seminar like hers. We took one at the Homestead 1839.
Oh, I did that one too.
I feel like it was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, was it like just this last fall? So.
Oh, no, mine was there. It's been a little while.
Okay.
for the
That
one I
was
took.
really helpful, though.
Mhm.
That was a lot of information from
Yeah.
Brittany, and so he's right. Yeah, she's kind of holding our hand through this process. So we're excited about that. Very
Nice,
fun.
nice.
Yeah.
So, what made you want to get into like the Airbnb business?
So that's what I was going to say when he was explaining the opportunity to turn this house next door to us into an Airbnb stemmed from the fact that we'd had some success in a much smaller scale. We have a little house in West Burlington that we also Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
And that one is a little different layout. It's a duplex, so we have a long-term renter that lives upstairs in like a one-bedroom studio apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And she's great. She's been with us for like 3 years, and she kind of keeps an eye on the property. And that little
Nice.
property we rent out there, and that's a smaller 2-bedroom home. And that's more like traveling professionals that come into the area that are here during the week.
Mhm.
Sometimes we get weekend guests too, but it's a much different home. But we'd had success with it, and so we thought that would be a fun financial venture for both of us as we approach the age of retirement and start to contemplate those things and how, we might generate income. And when we bought that second house, as he said, I think that our intentions were to make that one the Airbnb. I love the Happy Hippy Homestead where we lived because when I moved in, he'd already renovated it once with the boys. But that was 6 years earlier. And then we got together and we started planting things and really getting involved in the land and the yard and the landscaping. And it's a beautiful old home that is built in 1900. That one is. And then the one we bought next to us is 1910, which is also a lovely older home. But the Hippie Homestead is special. There's just something about that house. It's very almost regal in that it's got a lot of old wood all throughout, and the
Nice.
layout of it has 2 large front rooms and a very large, spacious, open dining room in the middle of those 2 front rooms.
Great for entertaining.
And a large open kitchen that's also there. So one whole level is a beautiful, you could easily entertain. And we did host a family this past Thanksgiving came in, and they sent us pictures. They had 28 people to dinner for Thanksgiving
Wow.
in the house. They didn't sleep there, but they had a lovely meal there. So it's a really, really special house. So we loved living there, but we started working on this other house, and we were 6 months in and still working on it because it is also an older home built in 1910. And it was taking a lot more time. So we decided to move into it and rent ours out. And then things just kind of escalated from there as far as the homesteading. Then our life, COVID happened too. That was before that, I guess. But I feel like I'm telling the whole story. You can jump in. I'm sorry.
So we have, 3 or 4 raised beds in the back. I mean, it's just, we didn't just dive in. It's just one little thing at a time. We started with the raised beds, and then we've got a goal now to plant 10 trees a year. And we've been doing that for about 4 years. And we're trying to plant more native varieties and more like a food forest type environment where we have less boring lawn and more things that we can grow and eat and take advantage of and things like that.
I've always wondered why a yard that's, just nothing but grass is, what everyone wants. Oh, a beautiful yard. No.
Yeah.
That's a waste.
It is.
Yeah.
And
Kind of catty corner from us, she has a huge garden in her front yard.
Yeah, when there's a person not too far from us, and when she moved in, she just tore up all that grass and put this huge. I looked at that garden and I'm like, I love that garden. And along the edge of the alleyway, just tons of wildflowers and things like that. I'm like, I really need to go make friends with that person.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good question to ask. Like in everything that we do, what am I doing, and how is my yard, and how is these actions, and how is this contributing to society? And I don't feel like for us that if we were just maintaining a well-manicured lawn that we had to put synthetic fertilizers on every year, it wasn't contributing to wildlife, it wasn't helping bees, it wasn't doing anything. It's just not something that we want to do. So yeah, we just started off slow, and like we were just adding to it. And I've always thought I'd like to have a bigger property, and man, I don't think that I would. Like it's a lot to maintain just that little bit. We got our chickens last year. Those have
What
been
are their
fantastic.
names? Do you have names?
We do have names because I wanted to remember the breeds. And so the Rhode Island Red is Penny. The red one she just looks exactly the same color. Plymouth Barred Rock, Rocky.
Mabel.
We have a Buff Orpington, the beautiful yellow fat ones, and we had one that was named Mabel. And I say we had because we also have Border Collie, and Mabel didn't quite make it, so we went back to.
Wasn't fast
We
enough.
changed her name to Maybe.
Yeah, we went back to the store, got another one named it Maybe.
We got her, and she made it.
Yeah.
She's doing well and thriving.
Maybe's doing good.
And then the last one is
The Australope,
Barbie.
right?
Yeah.
I have a Barbie too.
It's
Oh,
Ours
really?
is an Australian one. I'm like, how am I going to remember an Australian chicken name? And all I could think of was, put a shrimp on the Barbie. Barbie.
Yeah, her name is Barbie. Yeah, and they're so pretty, and I love them so much. They are so much fun.
Yeah.
And you guys have chickens too.
Yes. So I was going to let you tell the story of the chickens and how we got to the chickens to let them know.
Okay, so I'm sleeping in bed, and I wake up and I'm like, is that a chicken out there crowing? She's like, yeah, it's been out there for about a month.
He can't hear.
I got hearing aids, so I'm like, cool. So she goes off to work, and it was in the middle of the summer, so I work with the school system, don't have to go to school or work or anything. So I grab her Cheerios and go out to the backyard and start throwing Cheerios. Well, this chicken finally starts making its way out of the little gully back here. And I'm like, cool. So over the next couple week or so, I'm feeding feeding the chicken her Cheerios, which she didn't appreciate.
No, I wanted that last bowl.
Okay. Well,
That's
anyway,
okay. I got chickens out of it. I'm good.
And so we were sitting inside the kitchen, and our kids were there with us, and our youngest son, Eli's like, Dad, chickens in the yard. And it had hopped over the fence. It got so comfortable with us, it hopped over the fence, and it was sitting on our tomato cage. Cool. First thing she does is go out and starts building something to
I'm going to keep it. It's going to be my friend.
Did you know who it belonged to?
We have a theory
We have a theory.
that the lady that has the garden,
Possibly. That's our theory.
somebody had posted, and I think it was her, people on Agency Street, and she listed the block numbers. Be on the look for this chicken. And it's like, that's the same thing. I mean, it black and white, speckled.
Yeah.
It looked
yeah.
like it. But while it was in the back gully,
I think it roostered out.
became a rooster.
Ooh.
I think
And
it grew up.
nobody wants a rooster in town because, well, A, you're not supposed to have them.
Right.
Well, I don't know if you're not supposed to have them. No one official has said you're not supposed to have them.
Yeah,
and I'm not
it's-
asking them. No,
the-
I'm not
no,
asking them. I'm
okay.
not reading it.
All right, well, I can tell you. So
Not having it.
So while she's out there trying to catch this chicken or build an enclosure,
It
I'm
needed to
feeding
go
it.
home.
I'm feeding it more Cheerios, and then somebody opened up the door and let the dogs out. We had my daughter's dog and the dog that was here. Are they Old English bulldogs?
Yeah.
So they're bulldogs, but they're a little bit bigger, got
Yeah.
the longer snout, and it was on. That chicken was going back and forth through the yard. And we're trying to chase it. Finally, it corners the rooster in the corner, and I'm pulling off the dog, and I thought it was going to kill me. But I got the dogs inside the house, and I come back out, and it's like no noise at all. It's like, that chicken's dead. He's gone. We went out there, and he was just in shock.
Oh.
It was just
He let me pick him up and love on him because he was just like.
so we kicked the dogs out of their little dog kennel and threw the chicken in the kennel, and so that's where it began. And the chicken, we had to figure out a name for it. Well, my daughter's dog is 7, so this is 9, because 7, almost 8, 9.
Yeah. I get that.
So so that's how we started with the chicken.
And then because the chicken chose us,
Yes, it chose
we
us.
got to have chickens. I'm waiting for a goat and a mini donkey to choose us.
Oh.
Do you still have the rooster?
So, my daughter moved down to Harrisburg, Illinois, and
Okay.
her friends have like 5 acres, and they're playing farm out there. And so, before she was getting ready to move down, she had to transfer with her job and all that kind of stuff. Her roommate's father was coming down, and so we'll just send the chicken down.
Because she was going. This
little
chicken was
early.
going to go down with Paigey. Yeah.
And so it was down there for probably about 3 weeks, and she called Paige and said, chicken is dead.
Uh-oh.
It had grabbed a toad and tried to swallow it and choked on it.
I thought you were going to tell me it crossed the road.
She found it face down in the dirt and toad hanging out of its mouth. So
Wow.
9 is no more.
No.
But
What a way to go.
yeah,
I know. He had a good
Choking on
last
a toad.
meal, and yeah.
yeah.
But they're so much fun. Like, just whenever she goes out and they run towards her, it's like a scene out of like a
They're
Happy Jurassic
funny.
Park.
They're
Mhm.
funny.
They just run at you and everything.
They
And
just seem happy. Yeah.
yeah, they're joyful animals.
I never thought I would get into the chickens.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no. But I'll just sit out there for hours in the summer. and just
Watching them,
watching
I think they're very interesting
They
to
eat
watch.
out of your hand and all that
They
kind
are.
of
I
stuff.
will say, I was not prepared for the havoc that they wreak on my yard.
Or the poo
Especially
that they
it's
leave
a
on their
12.
steps.
I can imagine, like the 4 girls, when we let them out in our yard to free range, they tunnel. I mean, they just like make huge holes
Yeah.
in the yard and find all the grubs, and they are having, their best lives. But they create a lot of work in that way. So
One of the things that is going to be built first in the spring is a chicken tractor we want them to range outside of their coop, but just letting them go wherever they want to in the backyard is
they're
not.
giving us potholes that we're tripping on.
Yeah.
And
Well, see, ours have only been digging underneath the trailer.
But
Oh.
I didn't tell you this. One of the wheels on the trailer is dangerously close to a big hole.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, when you take it out, it'll go just have
Well,
everything strapped down.
I've got one of the wheels sitting on a brick because I had to jack it up and try to level it out.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, they're trying to unlevel it, but
Okay. Well, it'll know if it falls. One chicken down.
oh,
It's just so yeah.
yeah.
But there's certain things that I think that you don't need a farm for. Like you don't need to have a huge garden. You don't need to have a raised bed. Just grow something. And if you get an opportunity and a chicken chooses you, you take it. It's just like there's fun stuff that a lot of people I think aren't taking advantage of because they've just never thought or considered it, and so.
And the eggs are so much better than
Oh my
anything you get at the
gosh.
store.
Life-changing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Oh.
And I think
That's-
that's true with like everything that we nurture.
Make it
Just
home. Yes.
tomatoes, strawberries, chicken eggs. Like there's just
Tomatoes on the
nothing.
vine, and then in the wintertime, you go to some store and you're like, oh, these are a pale comparison
Yeah.
to what it could be.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I recently
agreed.
read an article that they have like 40% fewer minerals and nutrients in it. Just your normal
That's a
good
lot.
on the vine tomato versus one that you pull from your yard.
That's honestly our nutrition mission, I think, is to create as much of our own food as possible. That's what we're working towards as we retire, and
Yeah.
for as long as we can, because it is hard work too. Like it's a lot
Right.
to cook from scratch. I mean, we make a lot of things from scratch. We try to. So
And she says she.
I mean, well, bread, and now we gratefully enjoy those eggs. And he bought the coolest nut milk maker machine. So we make all of our nut milk at home and have for a long time now. We haven't bought that in, not that we drank a ton of milk anyway, but like for cereal. That's we love that gadget.
Yeah.
So, making it versus buying it, reading the ingredients in
so
one. and-
much cheaper and obviously better because I get to choose what I put in it. But you would think it would be pretty expensive to make your own nut milk because you think nuts are really expensive, and nuts are expensive. But I can make 20 ounces of milk with this thing by using less than a quarter cup of nuts.
Oh, wow.
And the rest of it's water and whatever. If I'm going to sweeten it and have like special milk for cereal, I will
Coffee
add.
creamer.
I make my own coffee creamer, so I'll add a date. I add some shredded organic coconut, which makes it creamier. A little bit of vanilla. Sometimes there's a recipe that adds a little bit of salt, but I don't really need that. But it's very cheap to make it, and I mean,
We know every ingredient that's in it.
we have 2 teenage boys that live with us, and we're vegetarian. We're not vegan. We're vegetarian. So we like our eggs and butter and cheese and all that. But we don't eat meat. But they like meat. But they appreciate things like the fresh almond milk or the fresh cashew milk that they have in their cereal.
And the fresh eggs. Like
And the eggs
they
and
grew with what we're doing.
and bread, like that's a big one, and tortillas and all the things that you can make with sourdough. Because I am on that journey, like so many other people.
Okay,
right
tell
now.
me about
I
this
saw the
journey.
bags of flour in your counter, and I thought, I wonder if she's doing sourdough.
So, I was scrolling through some of the things that you did, and I saw that video of the sound of the sourdough just popping and sizzling.
Isn't that attractive.
It is a beautiful
That's a good
sound.
way to
Mine,
describe it.
Yeah, if you like to cook and bake, and I do. Ooh,
yeah, the sound mine was making was, "You're killing me.
yeah.
You're killing me." So you actually do a class, don't you? Or have you done that?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
We put on 2, and I'd like to do more, but I have a lot of other things going on, and I actually asked a friend to collaborate with me because I didn't want to do it alone, and I knew I couldn't commit enough time to do it alone. So I had a friend who also does sourdough. I feel like I wasn't well versed enough to actually teach someone how to do it, but I know enough to do it for our home, and I'm learning myself. So her name is Alex, and she lives in Burlington, and we have a lot of mutual friends, and I was watching her Facebook page, and she was just shelling out all these beautiful loaves of sourdough and different creations and trying to start her own little home-based bakery is kind of what it looked like to me. And so I said, hey, your stuff looks amazing. We know a lot of the same people. Do you want to put a class on with me? I have a great platform. It would be something smaller because it's just a home. It would be an intimate evening, and let's kind of build from here if you're interested. And she was interested. So it ended
What is
up
her last name?
Yakko.
Yakko. Okay.
Alex Yakko, and she actually, Kenny's dad is the coach for softball, girls softball at West Burlington School, and I think he coached her when she was there.
Oh, okay.
So a small town, which I love. A lot of people know everybody. So it was real easy, kind of a no-brainer. We talked about how we might put it on. So we did. We put on 2 classes at the Happy Hippy Homestead where I just literally rented out our house for that night to do the class, and advertised it as an opportunity for anybody intimidated like I was. And not anymore, I'm not, but I definitely was. And sourdough can be intimidating. Come
But
and
it's
learn
worth it.
about it. I think we did it from like 5:30 until 8 o'clock. So it was long enough to come and enjoy a lot of beautiful samples of things I made with sourdough that were not just bread, but other stuff too. And then they took home a starter and 2 loaves of bread, like one that we made in class, and then one that they could, I think we finished while we were in class, or that they took home to bake. It was just fun. So it went really well. And the girls who have since taken the class have reached out quite a bit for recipes and guidance and things like that. So
Nice.
it's been fun. So tell me your journey with sourdough then. and I've been doing it for about a year. So
I've been doing it off and on for quite a while. I bribed one of the vendors at Farmer's Market. Yeah, Sarah is one of the Amish people that comes, and
Sure.
I said, how much would you charge for a sourdough starter? So she says, oh, I'll just $5. I'm like, okay, cool. So I bought some sourdough starter from her.
yeah.
And the first thing I did was I was like, oh, I had it in a jar, and I threw it in my purse. She didn't have the jar lid on tight
Oh no.
because you're not supposed to.
Right.
You know.
Depending. Yeah.
And so it kind of spilled all over my purse. But then I was looking at things and doing research and reading bread books and different things like that. And so I've made a couple things, and then I have really great intentions with so many different things. And sourdough is one of them.
Yeah.
And I would feed it or I would overstarve it. And then I think with mine is I would put it in the feed, but I wouldn't take out enough discard because it's kind of like me in life. I add things in, and I forget sometimes there's only so much room. You have to take things
it
out
out,
because otherwise you're just going to fizzle out. I am like my own metaphor. So
Love that.
Sourdough's the story of my
Sourdough.
life.
yes, and someday I will bubble with and get everything done. But it's learning how to get rid of. I think that's what I screwed up on last time. Was
You need more discard in your life.
I need more discard. Yes, I'm gonna take all this stuff and just discard what doesn't need to be there and
Yeah.
put it to good use somewhere else. So
Yes.
yeah.
Good plan.
So
it's
I
fun.
think that's what I went wrong in, but I know I'm going to be looking for your class. So if you do another class, I'll be like, haha, my friend and I will be
Awesome.
there.
I will definitely let you know. Yep.
It's been a fun journey. Like, it's more than just bread. Like, just recently you made Cheez-Its. Like,
Oh my gosh,
those
I
were
didn't realize all
incredible.
the stuff you can make with sourdough. And it's good for you. I mean, technically, it's a live bacteria,
Mhm.
and it's
So good
much
for your gut.
yes,
Yeah.
your digestion,
Mhm.
and yeah, and you get to monitor all of the ingredients.
Mhm.
So.
And it's fun to experiment and play with stuff. Like, we made something with roasted vegetables. I don't remember what it was now, but we had some leftovers. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
she made, sourdough, rolled it out and put all these vegetables on top of it and then just rolled it up and put it in the oven, made like a stromboli out of it.
Ooh,
unreal.
with pesto.
Yeah.
That was a fun thing this year with the garden. We took anything that we grew in the garden that was green. I tried to do a lot of and adding basil just to make basil pesto, but
I love basil.
me too.
Yeah, it's
But a really simple recipe, just to even like the tops of your carrots or other herbs, and just add them with just walnuts and oil and a few other ingredients, and put them in the blender and freeze it. And we have been using that on making pizzas and
Nice.
pasta.
Oh yeah,
and
that's where the vegetables came from. We were making
Yeah,
homemade
I put
pizza,
it in
so
the
she
bread.
made sourdough crust, and then we had a pesto topping that we made, and other vegetables that were roasted put on top
pesto
of
is
there.
good.
Oh,
Nice.
It's
so
really
good.
Yeah, we love to garden.
Yeah,
I love garden, and I think like like the people across the street who took their yard and just made it into this beautiful garden. I mean, so
How
many people
fun.
have so much space, and we could feed so many people with that. And yeah, I had a little neighbor kid come over, and he's never picked a tomato, so he came over and picked some tomatoes. I'm like, oh, we're gonna be friends.
Yeah.
And
That's
my
fun.
thought was, when I first had the garden, before we had chickens, because the chickens, I didn't have raised beds. I just put them straight in the ground,
Yeah.
and the chickens found everything. So I had a bunch of oregano and stuff like that, and it was getting really big. I'm like, oh, and now it's chicken-fied, so I have to go somewhere else.
yeah.
I know that. I know how that feels.
Yeah, so I just all my perennials, I finally separated out part of the yard so the dog can be out on, and then the chickens can be out.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
See, I have to figure that out yet.
Yeah, my yard's kind of easy because it's shallow right there where I can put something to separate them out. And if you have a
Yeah.
whole acre, that's a little different than
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to put the food stuff on the dog side, because the dog won't mess with
Right.
too much stuff. But the chickens, I'm still
They
going to
will
plant for the
find it.
chickens. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to give that. But your story about the young kid picking the tomato for
Mhm.
the first time, like that's inspiring. That's one of the reasons why we love what we do. We
Mhm.
had last year this family that stayed with. We've met so many cool people doing what we do, and this family stayed with us, and they had a bunch of little kids, and it was in June, and our strawberries were going, and we'd gotten all we needed or wanted, and they were just out there picking. And one little kid picking strawberries. What did he say? What that little
They
boy
thought
say?
it was the coolest thing ever.
nice.
They were knee deep in the strawberry patch, and there was still quite. I mean, it was the end of the season, but there was still a bunch there, and they started picking them and just saying the coolest, sweetest things like, "This is the best day ever." And, "Yeah, I never picked a strawberry before." And then I think they said, said it to me or you, "I want to be just like you when I grow up." Like, it was just such a gratifying thing to see a child's eye enjoying nature and watching food being grown and that we grew. It was really, really fun.
And kind of eye-opening too, because just think about, kids don't know where strawberries come from now. They don't know necessarily
I didn't.
where
I
tomatoes
didn't. I
come
mean,
from.
yeah.
Like this is their only experience with growing something, being able to pick it and eat it that isn't from the produce section of the grocery store. We're losing that as a
Yeah.
society. So that's one of the reasons. The other reasons why we're just trying to hold on to a tiny little bit of knowledge, because we talk about this all the time. Like, compared to a lot of our other friends, we know a lot about gardening. Compared to 2 generations ago, the average person, we know nothing. We're so ignorant about how our food is grown. Like, how I think that if you want to follow down a dark hole, what happens if society collapses? And a couple of years ago, we had to run on toilet paper. If that
Oh.
happens for other, like that was our test run, and we've done nothing
failed.
to change anything. So
Miserably.
if something bad happens, like we don't know how to grow our food, and a lot of people think I can just put tomato seeds in the ground. It's not that easy.
And it takes a while. It's not instant.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
some
like,
planning.
there's work that has to be done, and plants have their own personalities, and every year is different. And when I was younger, I would look at older people who had gardens in their yard, and that was such just like an old archaic thing to do. But now, it's like playing chess with Mother Nature.
Well,
You're just always having to get a little bit ahead, and if you f up one thing in the
like the
summertime, you're
simplest-
done till the next year. Like you're sometimes it's like, well, crap, that didn't work out.
It's like the simplest hard thing,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
if something, a pest like that, I think is the most disheartening part of gardening. We could not grow a cucumber last year to save our lives because of the
Beetles.
squash bugs.
Mm-hmm.
They just we
They're
just couldn't
so
get past it.
annoying.
They're
Yeah.
awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they're very prevalent in the area, and we just that was
Yeah.
just a struggle. So stuff like that can be frustrating, but it makes it even more gratifying when you can grow it. I think
That's
So.
one thing chickens will help with, like, with the bugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Last year they ate every bug that they saw.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
we'll have to turn them loose on the squash bugs. Hopefully, we'll see how that works out.
You'll be like, Barbie, you're on duty.
Pick it up, girl. Come on. Slack her. Yeah, but it's been
Yeah.
a blast. Like we've had so many fun families come in and stay and get to know people. We hosted one young girl that family that she was going around to different dojos across the country. They were thinking about after
Oh,
COVID,
yeah.
should we get an RV or go anywhere? And they decided just to hop from Airbnb to Airbnb. And they had a daughter that was with them who was a jujitsu master at age 13. And
Oh, wow.
every few months they would go to a new place based on where there was a studio for her to train at. Kind of like Electra. You have so many different senseis. And, anyway, there was just fun stories, fun people. It's a really great way to get to know other folks, share our food, and try and connect with community again. Because that's another great thing about gardening in our location. Our block, all of the backyards face each other, and there's probably 20 houses in the area, and I bet 10 of them are gardeners. And so it's another great way
It
to
is
talk
nice.
community. We're talking to our neighbors about all the time, like, hey, Mark's our neighbor.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, Mark Scott.
Yeah, yeah. He's crushing it on squash this
He has
year,
a
and we can't do
beautiful
anything.
garden,
He's got
yeah.
a gorgeous garden, so we have garden envy. Like he's looking over at our stuff, and we're looking at his. It just works out that his mom has
And then
a
his
garden.
mom is 2 houses over,
Yeah.
and she has a garden too. I think, right?
Yeah.
She has her own.
Yeah.
Not to Mark's scale, because he has a really
Yeah,
large.
but there's
one.
just so many benefits of doing stuff like that. You've got your dietary benefit. We've already talked about. They're healthier than anything else. You've got your community benefit. Being outside in nature is just it's healthy. There's no way around that. It's so good for us. And so the more opportunity we get to do that and talk to people about it and show the little bit that we've learned throughout the years, that's kind of our calling, I feel like.
Nice. So this is going to be posted in January, and January's cold, and cold is not normally a time you think about gardens,
Yeah.
but this
is
is
for
actually the
us.
perfect time to really do some planning.
Yes.
So, what are some of the plans that you have for this future garden for this coming year?
Well,
I think I'll go first. My first priority every year that we've been doing this is always what did we not use last year that we didn't like, and how can we make sure that we don't do that again, and try to focus more just on what we love to eat. And
that's exactly what I was going to say.
yeah, and I have a tendency to overcrowd my plants too, thinking, oh,
I
I
do
can
that
get, I
too.
can get in one more, and by doing that, I think I just really shoot myself in the foot every season on certain crops within the yard. Last year, I did it with Brussels sprouts. I love Brussels sprouts, and 2 years ago, I did them for the first time, and they turned out beautifully. But I think it was because I didn't overcrowd them. So we're just, I guess, to answer your question about planning, that's what we start to get excited about right after the holidays is, okay, now we
The
get to
seed
look forward
catalogs
to.
come.
It's like Christmas all over.
Yeah, and so we have a room in our house that has a lot of great light, and that's where the seeds will go, along with some extra grow lights and things like that. But we just got that room ready a couple weeks ago, and now we'll sit down and plan, and a lot of it will be repetition from previous years, and we've done a good job, I think, in the last 5 to 6 years on combining what is now the 2 yards together to have a ton of beautiful perennial food that keeps coming back to us. And we're really excited to we try and focus just on adding that. But then just some of the basics in the garden beds will, the peppers and tomatoes are big. Kenny's gotten really good, I feel like, in the last couple of years at onions and garlic. And the last 2 years, I've tried potatoes. And last year, I did a really good crop of potatoes in the ground for the first time and had good success with that. So there'll be a lot of other things, too. But what we'll do is write everything down. And then we have 40 things, and then we trim it back because we can't plant all that. So like if it was, if we could have all of this, we would have all of this, but then we kind of scale it back, and then we end up ordering. I think it's a combination of ordering some seeds, and then just like everybody else, when you get that spring bug and it's like close to Mother's Day and you want to go out and start getting plants, we'll add some other plants too, because we had 5 raised garden beds. 4? 5.
Like 4.5. One's smaller, but
One's like a little
4.5.
small file cabinet that he renovated into a raised bed. So it is kind of a half bed, but so we do a lot with those.
And so you just said using a file cabinet. It doesn't have to be something like super expensive. You can start with just...
Oh, no, there's no reason to do something super expensive. I mean, if you want to go all in on, something that you can buy on Amazon, they've got stuff like that. But watch Facebook Marketplace. Like you can get a small filing cabinet, the narrow ones. You can get the wide ones. They're like $20. They're made out of metal. They're not going to contaminate your food or anything. But you build them out of rocks, out of bricks. You can... plant them straight in the ground. There's a lot that you can do, but like you said, it's winter time. It's all about planning, and it's thinking about what do I want to eat. And if you're like going to be in a spot for a long time, like we're where we are, and God willing, we're going to be there for a really long time. Growing annuals every single year is hard work. So think about something else that you'd like to have. Do you have room for an apple tree? Do you have room for a pear tree? Do you have room for
Blueberries?
both?
We have blueberries, strawberries, raspberries.
Blueberries, raspberries, start putting in perennials. Go for native plants like kiwi plant, or not kiwi.
I was like,
we do have kiwi. We have hardy kiwi in the back. They're kind of like a cross between a kiwi and a grape. You can eat the outsides. We haven't got any fruit off of them yet. We just planted them last year.
It's too soon, but we have fig trees.
Figs, we got fruit off of the first year. Pawpaw trees. Have you guys heard of those? Yeah, so pawpaw's a native plant to this area, but they don't keep. Like you've got a few week window where you just gorge yourself on pawpaws. They're like a cross between a banana and a mango, and you'd swear they were a tropical fruit, but they're grown around here. So, but they take 10 years to produce fruit. Wow. Get them in the ground. If you like asparagus and you want to, handy crop every year, you're going to wait 3 years after you plant them. So plant them now. I mean, a lot of these things are going to take time to build up, but...
And don't plant them where you're going to put the chickens, because...
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to our asparagus, but we lost our patch too. But not from chickens. But
Or don't plant them in the front yard. She planted asparagus, so we got this little thing between our yard and the neighbor's yard.
Yeah.
She planted her asparagus out there, and I'm not a big asparagus fan, but when I seen the dog peeing on it, as the guy
people
was
walking up and down the street.
Every day the guy would stop and his dog would, and like, nope, I'm never eating that again.
So know the traffic around where you're going to plant the perennials.
Yes.
I didn't-
advice.
Yeah.
I didn't
Planning
think
is
about
everything.
Yes, and
Very true.
I was so excited when it first came up.
It looked good.
Yeah, so I'm just going to move it.
Yeah. I don't care. I'm done.
You were looking for an excuse not to eat asparagus.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that worked for me.
But it's just like start. I mean, you can do
Uh-huh.
research all day long. You know,
Mhm.
strawberries and asparagus go great together. You know,
Yeah,
you've got
companion
some,
planning. That's a
some
big
time to
one,
look up
like-
some things, do that, but don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. You know, start
Right.
planting something, put something in the ground so that, you know, it's gonna come back for you. Like we grow a few different kinds of tomatoes. You know, we grow paste tomatoes for sauce. We doing cherry tomatoes where we've got like a solar oven to dry those in now, and we've like
Ooh.
canned some sun-dried tomatoes in that. That's
Mhm.
pretty delicious and amazing. But you know, it doesn't take a ton of space. But if you have a ton of space and you're wasting it with just plain old turf grass, that, you know, looks like you should.
Herbs. We did a lot of herbs the last
Oh,
couple of
yeah,
years,
those
and
are good.
that's one. Have you done that? Like where you save them and
I've
dry
got
'em?
I've got a. There, it's right. The chicken coop went right over the top of where a lot of those were, but off to the side, I had oregano, thyme, dill in there, and I think
That's
I'm going
one
to
of
block
my
the chickens
favorite
out of there
things.
again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because when we expanded our flock from like 4 to 12, we had to get a bigger run for them and a bigger coop. And it's like, all right, we got to decide, you want your chickens or you want your garden?
I wanted chickens. I can move the garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the redoing year for me. So I'm kind of excited because I made a lot of mistakes by overcrowding. The same way I don't want to discard dough. I
Yeah.
didn't want to take out take out plants too. So
Sure.
um, yeah. So now
Because
I
it
can
feels
do it.
wasteful, right? I know.
It does when they say
Yes.
plant all these and then just pick all these other ones out. And I know you can eat them as microgreens, but I'm just like, but what if that's the better one and I'm picking the wrong one?
Yeah, and then
So-
you do the wait and see method, and then they get bigger
Mhm.
and bigger, and you're like, oh, well, now.
I waited too long, and then you pull out one,
Yeah.
it takes the whole row out.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, I'm really good about putting in too many plants too,
Mm-hmm.
and
There's
not
a
taking
knack to it. It takes time.
Mhm.
And it's a learning process for sure, but
Yeah.
it's so rewarding
Mm-hmm.
Very
in so many
gratifying.
ways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now you do some stuff with some renewable and some. You were downtown, and you were with.
The Renewable Energy Conservation Committee.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'm a sustainability consultant by trade, but that's more than just renewable energy. It encompasses so much, but that's definitely a part of it. So I'm currently the chair of the Renewable Energy and Conservation Committee of Burlington. I'm also working on starting a Clean Energy District of Iowa in Des Moines County. There's 13 of those currently in Iowa. We don't have one down here, but hopefully we will in the next few months. I'm looking for help on that. So if anyone's listening and interested, reach out. Yeah, that's kind of my journey. I've cut back on my regular work hours. I'm trying to do more with the community around here, and it's about efficiency. It's about saving the resources that we have for the people that are going to follow us here, and it's an interesting time for that field right now.
Mm.
So
Yeah. So there's 13 groups, and there's 99 counties. So is
Right.
there any? What's the closest one to us then?
Polk County has theirs. The Winneshiek County. There's I think Jackson County. There's 13. But what the Clean Energy Districts of Iowa are about, they're trying to make clean energy affordable for everyone. And they're also, I think a lot of people are like turning off right now, but this is also a group that advocated as Alliant Energy went to increase our rates. These 13 counties supported them, and they were the most active voice in keeping our rates as low as they are right now. So there's a lot that goes into this. You'll find that more disadvantaged communities pay more for their electricity than others. Most people who are renting apartments pay for their own utilities, and so making that building more efficient isn't high up on a landlord's list. He's not footing the bill for it, so why does it really matter to him? And but there's ways to improve efficiency for multiple reasons, and cost savings are a huge one there. Energy independence, energy security. I'm a strong believer in climate change, but even if you don't believe in climate change, there's a lot of reasons to get behind a group like Clean Energy Districts of Iowa. They work for their member districts currently to provide grants on renewable energy projects for cities, climate action plans for cities. And so that's something I want to bring to Burlington. We pay for the utilities that go into our police station, our fire station, our library, our public works department. And if there's a way to make an investment to make that less expensive, more efficient for the people of the Burlington community, then I want to bring that here.
Nice.
So-
And better for our environment as a
Yeah,
whole. I mean,
absolutely.
yeah, all of that. Win-win.
Yeah. for
Win.
Yeah. Well, and especially with like you're saying how people who are disadvantaged usually pay more because the houses and the places that they rent. I know I work for a nonprofit, and one of the programs that they have is a weatherization program for low income individuals.
Yeah.
And the testimonies that come out of that, whether it's a senior on a fixed income who had some work done on their home through this grant, and knowing that their bill went from, I'm just going to pull a number, like from 500 to 200. I'm making up numbers because I don't remember the exact number, but it was a huge number, and for this person on fixed income, it was huge.
Yeah. So I think that Burlington has the potential to be one of the most sustainable communities in the country. We have so much going for us right now already. Like we're a biking community. All in, Ragbri ended here last year. We have the Criterion that comes in here every year. Aldo Leopold, is huge in Burlington. We have a great presence of community here, our art center, our library, the things that we have. I mean,
And there's just been a huge progression of it in the last 5 years or so.
Yeah, so I'm really trying to push that forward. And our art center recently went under a renovation where they added solar panels to their roof to cover all of the costs for electricity. They've got a lot of kilns that go through there. They're pushing out. They need a lot of power. And what they put on the roof is covering that. Alliant just raised our rates 15%. So what the art center was saving before, their rate of return, their return on investment just jumped thanks to Alliant Energy. And I feel that, again, even taking climate change out of the equation, taking all the stuff that we fight over about all the time about why this is good for us, just from a financial and energy security aspect, it's totally worth it. And like you said, there's a lot of people that have programs to seal up houses to make them more efficient. This is an old town. We've got a lot of old homes. They're leaky. They have drafts. I mean, if you can spend a few $100s or a few $1,000s and then get a third of that back off of your taxes the following year, and because of that investment, you're going to save, X number of dollars every month. That's a guaranteed return. And there's a lot of projects, where I'm going to put this money out, and I know that I'm going to get 6% back on my money, guaranteed. Because you're always going to use electricity, right?
We use
6%.
a lot. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure we use a lot.
7%, 9%. But if that's a guaranteed rate, and any time that the Alliant raised our rates again, that rate of return for you is only going to go up. Sure, you can throw your money into the stock market and get better returns on that, but I don't think that there's any greater thing that you can do for your home, your community, your children, and your pocketbook. I mean, that's a guaranteed return. It's great for the environment. And, the bottom line for me is, regardless of everything else that we think about climate change, environmental, any this or that, every single gallon of fuel that we burn is gone. Every pound of coal that we burn is gone. We've been given this planet with an indefinite amount of time to live off of. We've been handed these gifts, and we're squandering them. And I feel like if we don't do something different, we might as well just look into our social media camera and just tell the future generations, you know what, F you, our comfort, our conveniences are more important than your survival. And that sounds crazy, but if we're doing what we're doing 7 generations from now, 10, I don't know how many it's going to take, but this liquid gold that we're going to be drilling for is finite. And that's a fact. So finding ways to get our energy from renewable sources, whether that wind, the sun, something else, let's find some other way, but like that's very, very important. Growing our own food to make us healthier, you know, supporting, and if you can't grow your own food, go to the farmer's market. Support local
we have
people.
Such a great
We have
farmer's
a
market.
great farmer's
Yes, we
market.
do.
There's great people down there. It's a beautiful community. Like, even if you can't grow anything, if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I live in an apartment, this has nothing to do with me. No, bullshit. Go find your farmer's market. Go make friends with a neighbor who has like, there are things that you can do.
Come get a tomato for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing that, being able to grow together. I mean, there are community gardens.
Yeah,
South
there are.
Hill has a really nice community garden
Yeah.
that they've started. I think they've been doing this for 3, 4, 5 years. I think it was pre-pandemic that they started this. I'd have to
Yeah.
ask Bree because I think she's one of them that started it. I know that the Burlington Area Homeless Shelter on Marshall started a community garden, and
Homestead 1839 has.
oh
a
yeah,
couple.
yeah.
Yeah. Our Master Gardener program in this area is amazing. What a great group of people.
Yeah, and when I worked at the a food bank, the Master Gardeners donated beautiful produce. I'm like, wow, I can't grow that. Like, that does not look like the stuff that's coming out of my garden. I don't know what you're doing.
Garden envy, it's a real thing.
It is such a real thing. Like when I see other people's chicken coops or these things, I'm like, oh, there's an idea. There's an idea. There's an
Yes.
idea. But you only have like, you know.
It's addictive for sure.
Yes. You know,
Just progresses.
I don't get my nails did, but I will get my chickens did.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's so many things that we can do to help each other out, like
Yeah.
with the garden, or you know, we have a bunch of family that have gone to solar panels, and the amount that they're saving on their Alliant bill is crazy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that we can do to be good stewards of what we have.
Yeah.
Whether
Of
we
our planet,
Yeah.
like even just something as simple as composting and trying to, you know, put the circle of life back into the soil. Like that's been a huge game changer, I think, in our property. Like I've seen the progression of being able to grow better over the last 3 or 4 seasons, just by treating the land better and making sure that we're, you know, putting in good soil and watching. And not using the pesticides and, you know, strictly organic. It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know how many people know this, but Iowa has rising cancer rates right now. We're one of only 2 states. Kim Reynolds just ordered an investigation into that from the University of Iowa and somewhere else. We'll see where it goes. You know, I have my thoughts where it comes from, which is another one of the reasons why we do what we do. You know, we just grow our own stuff. I want to know exactly what's in the vast majority of my food. And yeah, we don't drink milk, but you know, I don't know that boxes of soy milk are a ton better. So, you know, we got almonds and water, and that works beautifully. It's fantastic. So we really try and monitor what our actions, what we put into our body, what we put into our minds, and live as cleanly as possible, and kind of
Yeah.
share that with others too.
Well, and it's really great that you're doing that as the classes that you're doing, the push for the clean energy that you're doing, because it does take people caring about our community to help, you know, it, you know, succeed in the future. So, yeah, that's amazing.
And I think it's encouraging to meet people like you who want to highlight that, because I think that more and more people are feeling that way and wanting to be more connected to each other, you know, as a people and a community. And there's a lot of progression and I think diversity in our own backyards. And just a lot of things in common in that way.
And beautiful is it?
In Burlington.
Burlington is a
specifically.
beautiful town. There's such cool people here. We were talking about the getting rid of your plain yard and everything. We were talking to Sam Hollingsworth just last week, and he's a local guy that's starting up a landscaping business based on native plants and things like that. Getting rid of your lawn and introducing pollinators and
I'm gonna do the clover thing.
Me too. I haven't done it yet, but I do want to.
And that's another thing. Like, since we've been doing this over the past 5 years, we're mowing less and less. Like, I do have a lawnmower, and we reuse our clippings and everything else. But there's been such a diversity growth in the amount of animals, insects, birds, and other animals that we see just on our little in-town 1 acre property. We have dandelions all the time. We're
and
one
lots
of the
fireflies
I
in
love
our backyard.
dandelions.
And we're one of the last places that I've seen just a crap ton of fireflies. And a lot of that's because, to our neighbor on the east chagrin, we don't necessarily rake our leaves until after March. We're not going to chop them up. There's a lot that overwinters there that tries to survive there. And whenever we scoop up all of their homes and toss them out and then wonder why we don't have any fireflies the next year, well, that's why.
See, I think the leaves, get them off the sidewalks, get them off the walkways, because they do get slick, and
They
it
sure
can
do.
be a safety hazard.
Exactly.
But let them go.
Yeah.
You
That was a
know?
hard one for me because I like aesthetics and like
She
that
likes
bothered
order.
me. But I'm on board with it, and I know there's lots of precious life hiding under there. So yeah, we do let it go.
Yeah, you can just sing, let it go, let it go.
Yep, exactly.
Or let it grow, let
yes,
it grow.
exactly.
Indeed,
That's
yeah.
better. Yeah, let it grow.
Yeah, but it's been a blast doing this with her, and we the chicken coop we refabricated. I took apart our old treehouse that I built for the boys, and we put that together for a portion of the side of it. I used an old trampoline and put that together. We've got filing cabinets for raised beds, and we try and reuse things that we can't. One of our beds is one of our boys' mattress box bed. It was a
Oh yeah, that's
it's
right. I
an
forgot
old boxed-in
about
thing that I had
Yeah.
sitting on top of a couple dressers in order to give them more space in their room. And what do I do with this? Let's turn it into a garden bed. So,
Well, that's what I meant when I said I felt like the house was very special, and just that we've tried to purposefully repurpose as much of everything as we can. We try not to. He has specifically tried to anything that's been built or added onto has been, trying to repurpose things and not buy new and make it unique and special. He put a pergola on the back deck a few years ago, and then we have watched 3 beautiful Concord grape vines grow
Nice.
now, and so they cover the pergola. And the last 2 years we've gotten grapes, but this last season we got so many beautiful grapes, and the jelly and I guess that's all we've made with that is jelly, but also elderberries. We've got a few elderberry trees on the property, and he's done a really good job of harvesting and learning how to process elderberries, which is quite time consuming. Have you ever done that?
No, I've had elderberry jam and seen, I've seen it, but I've
Yeah.
not done anything.
It's
When you
because
say
they're
grew in a
so
tree, I didn't
they're
even
so
look for it.
tiny. They're almost like little BB pellets.
Oh,
I
wow.
would say they're very, very tiny. So once you get the branches off and you harvest them from the tree, it's a lot of. He actually takes a fork to get them off the branches, and then you get them in a bucket, and then from there you freeze them.
it's
you have to go through a
tedious work,
process.
yeah.
But we made a bunch of elderberry syrup, and we made some jam, and it is very gratifying.
And significant health benefits from that too. Like your food is medicine. And that's one of this is the Happy Hippy Homestead. Like, this sounds very hippie-ish to say, but it's so true. Like, what you are, literally what you eat. Literally are. And we drink a little bit of elderberry syrup every day. It's delicious. It came from the yard. I
Well,
think
especially this time of year when you're trying to ward off any colds.
we don't
or,
really
build up your immune
get
system.
sick a lot. I mean, there's always a chance that anything, but I think that we're doing a good job of protecting ourselves from a lot of the junk that's out there, just by eating the right things and taking care of it the right way.
eating the right things without the wrong things in them.
Exactly. Yeah. For
But
sure.
we're not perfect by any means. I
Oh.
definitely have a sweet tooth, and I make a lot of yummy sourdough treats, and there's sugar in it, and like I try to be selective of those things, but I definitely like to bake. So,
But the yumminess with the sourdough, I mean, that's really good for your gut.
yeah, I feel like
So-
it's like I feel like you can still bake and make
Mhm.
some really delicious sweet treats, and make them healthy. You
Mhm.
know, you can, and I have definitely learned to adapt to that. So,
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because a lot of our health starts in our gut, and
Mhm.
the stuff that's in overly processed food is just, wreaking havoc on so many people.
Yes.
For sure.
For that. So
Yeah.
I was watching something, and they had this line of like all these vegetables and like this little thing of like processed food, and they said in the 80s, this is how much was used with original ingredients, and this is how much
Isn't
that was
that
processed,
awful?
and then as just in
Yeah,
40
the shift.
years.
Yes.
Yeah.
From most of the food is not even food. It's not
Mhm.
real. It's chemicals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have no idea what the percentage is, but I know that there's a lot of food that's like that
Mhm.
that they call food, but it's just not.
Right.
So,
Right. If you look at the ingredient list, and there's a lot of ingredients that you're like, not quite sure what that is, or
Yeah.
I can't say that word, or
Right.
it's amazing. I had some water at work. This is a while ago, and I had just an apple, and I think I had an apple and a cinnamon stick, and I just stuck that in the water. And then my friend was laughing at, and a little bit of mint for my garden. I was getting all foo-foo.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so I bring in mint when my mint comes in, unless the chickens eat it all, because it's in chicken territory right now. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I would bring in mint and then just slice fruit and cinnamon sticks, and I would put that out so people can put whatever they want in their water.
Mhm.
And one of my friends was like, kind of laughing at me. I'm like, give me your Mountain Dew can. Like, so I started reading all the stuff on the back of that thing. I'm like, you want to know what's in my water? Apple, cinnamon.
That's
Mhm.
right.
It's just like
Mm-hmm.
it's so commonplace to have all those chemicals and those bad things in there. And, we work with younger children who have issues with dental, and it's because there's so much stuff in the food and the drinks because it's
Mhm.
easy.
Yes.
It's easy, and a lot of it is intentionally addictive.
Oh my
There's
goodness.
no way around that. I mean, I don't care if you're a conspiracy theorist or
No,
not.
it
is
is.
just the
You
way
are-
that it is.
Yes, because that's how they hook you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if they hook you and you're addicted to this crap food and this crap drink, then you're going to keep drinking it. And
Yeah.
the same companies that own this food and this drink company, they own the medicine that's going to cure you of all these diseases.
Yeah.
That they are I'm like,
They're not
oh,
going to cure you. They're going to.
bait you.
They're just going to
Put a Band-Aid
keep
on
it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to, yeah.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole that we could go
Yeah.
down.
Oh my
but-
goodness! Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's not even that the people that own the pharmacy and the food company, they're all the same group.
Yeah, and a lot of them are the tobacco companies that bought those companies out and are using the exact same playbook to addict us to this crap that they used to addict us to cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got their lobbyists and everything else. And again, this sounds so conspiratorial, but I guess the thing with how we eat and the amount of time and dedication it takes to put that together, people say, I don't have the time for that. I don't have the money for that. You're going to pay for your health sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to decide when you want that to be.
Right. And one of the things about cooking from scratch, like my kids will cook with me. It's something that we can do together. He has his things that he cooks. I have my things that I cook. The
That's
kids
so
have all
true.
picked
Doug,
up.
what's your thing?
things.
Like, what's your go-to?
Oh boy, brisket. Do a mean brisket.
Right on.
What else do I do?
You do the grilling.
Yeah,
Anything
I grill.
outside.
Yeah. And what's yours, Amy?
I make lasagnas, tons of stir fries. We do
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
Oriental food.
Yeah.
When I first met him, he said, "Oh, I don't like Chinese food." I'm like, "I don't know if this is gonna work."
Could be a deal breaker.
Then I introduced him to a good place, and then we do a lot of veggies, a lot of the rice noodles.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm always, it's because it's easy. And then the kids can pick out what vegetables they want. And then
Yeah.
if they don't eat enough, I can slice them really small and throw them in with the meat so they have to eat it.
Yep.
It's just there.
Yeah. Lots, we eat lots of rice and I love to cook.
We do too.
It's an
Yeah.
art form too. Like you get a lot of liberties to just play and experiment, and it's
Colors and textures and
Yeah.
I work with nutrition and kids, and just we're introducing kids to food that is healthy and flavorful and different things that they wouldn't normally get to have.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's got to be very gratifying.
Yeah. So I also teach basic sustainability classes online for Southern New Hampshire University. And one of my
Really?
most favorite conversations that come up is like, what does sustainability mean to you, and what's something that you can do that, would improve your community? And my favorite answer is always based around food. Food has always been something for a community, for humans, forever. And we're moving away from that, but not many people have, food around the dinner table, no matter what you're making. I mean, that's something that, used to be just a part of everyday life. We work so that we can, just buy things that are convenient so that we have more time to work. And like, we have to try and reprioritize where we spend our time and our treasure.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, I don't have time for this or not. But then I look like, how long did I scroll? How long was I
That's
doing?
what I was just going to say. I feel like it all keeps coming, everything we're talking about just keeps coming back to planning. That's so important when you are trying to be more intentional about how you live and what you eat and how you cook, and because everything takes time. It takes more time. It certainly does. But like you said, you're either going to spend the time up front eating the foods that you should be eating, or in the end, unfortunately, you'll spend the time being sick because it's going to make your body sick if you're not taking care of it.
Yeah, but when you plan right, like eggplant was my thing last year. Like, so we made a few eggplant lasagnas where like the eggplant was our layer, and that it's so good. But another thing that she mentioned is like, when we give gifts now, she just went to a party the other day and gave a sourdough loaf and like a jar of our homemade jelly, and like that was the hit of the party. But we give homemade stuff to our family now, and we don't have to go work to go buy to do pay for something else. I mean, it's all connected, and finding the time to calm your mind a little bit, get out into nature, grow something, become one with earth, like get your hands dirty. God, that feels so good to stick your hands in dirt.
There's so much health benefit of just touching dirt.
Yes. Yes.
That's definitely my therapy. Yeah, is gardening. That's where I am most of the spring and summer, is out in the garden. Yeah.
Yeah, but just reconnect with the way that we're supposed to live. This
Well,
new way that
it's fascinating to see
isn't it? Yeah.
to see something that you put your heart and soul into grow, and then to be able to enjoy it and have it nourish your body at the same time and share it with others is I think it's a beautiful experience, really.
Yeah. And we forage too. Like, we'll go to the different parks around here, find stuff to eat out in the woods. And,
Oh, how fun.
oh, it's a blast.
Mushrooms, a lot of mushrooms. He does a lot of mushrooms
Yeah,
from
but we
the
won't
park.
tell anybody where those are.
Those are
spots at.
secret. Those are like top secret.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
all of
can tell
them.
us off camera.
Yeah,
Very
but
true.
like, just connect with
Your
other people,
food.
your food, your land, your all of it. It's so rewarding. I just invite everyone to try that. And if you've got to pick second place, go to the farmer's market, talk to the people there who have touched the food and grown it from something, and that money then goes to them and comes right back into our community. The good that you do from growing your own food and then from buying your own food from farmer's market just has such a reverberating effect on your entire community in so many different ways. And we have all of that here. Like, this is a great town.
We do
I
have a really
love
great
this
town.
Yeah, agreed.
So a lot of great people, like you guys, like Molly and Tobin Krell, like
They've been on here too before.
oh, of course they have.
We
They
love
should be.
them.
Yeah, they're the best. I mean, this is a really cool town for stuff like that. We're kind of isolated from all the other big towns that are around, and We've got a good farming community, and not just industrial large scale farms, but we've got a lot of, small hobby farms too. A lot of small, like people that raise meat, you don't need to go to, I don't know, one of the grocery stores to buy your meat. I know multiple people around here that'll sell you half of a cow or a quarter of a pig or something. And, just, again, when you buy local, especially with your food, the benefits are just outnumber anything that you can drop your money on in a store.
Yeah, and you said about the meat, the stuff you see in the store that's been packaged in you don't necessarily know I know that there's some way you can read a code and figure out what country it comes from, but I'm like, it's here. We can get it here, and support, the local communities and
yeah, and you know where it came from. Like that's every time we turn around, there's this thing has salmonella. There's E. coli in this. And egg prices are going up. And
oh my goodness,
that sucks.
Yeah, I had to buy eggs for some baking and stuff like that, and I was like, I hadn't bought eggs in over a year.
Yeah, over a year.
Over a year, because
It was like doing the walk of shame. It's like
I know.
I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just bought 18 eggs and it was over $5. I'm like,
isn't that terrible?
what
Yes.
the world?
Yeah.
I didn't realize they got that expensive. I think I
Yeah.
was living under a rock or something like that, or But yeah, because we like eggs, and we'll go through spurts where we go through a ton of eggs, and then there's then we kind of
Sure.
ebb and flow of it. But I was like, I can't believe that they got that expensive. I don't know what happened. I just don't know what happened. I'm like, it's not even Easter time.
Yeah, there's
So-
like bird flu stuff. I
Yeah,
mean, there's
think
just
it's
a ton of stuff going on.
That's what I've been reading a little bit, was the bird flu. That I think there's 1 or 2 cases that have been reported here, but I think
my
it's been
birds
enough
fly all the
to-
time. Don't play that sound effect. No. There's a womp womp womp.
One thing I was thinking about when, to your last point, was for anybody that's wanting to become more intentional about any part of homesteading, or even just contributing to your environment. Even so, it doesn't even have to be food, because sometimes that's intimidating. And yeah, some people don't have the space or the ability. But just planting a flower is so gratifying, just starting small, I think. That was my journey for gardening. And now, I feel a lot more comfortable in my skills and ability. But it is, you have lots of, you can't break it. So gardening is a lot of work, but very, very gratifying. And I just wanted to point out that I think it's important, even if you're not growing food, because, we need to be able to provide nature to bees so that they can pollinate the flowers, and so all of that is all intermingled, and just really, really important.
Yeah,
And I'm
good
excited about getting bees this year for that reason, because we plant a lot of flowers in our yard too, for that reason. So
I would love to do these. I'm
nervous, excited. I'm super excited, but I'm kind of nervous about it too.
Well, I'm excited for you guys, because I'm going to follow your journey for a little while, and I'll have to wait till a rooster bee comes and makes
Chooses
his
you.
home, chooses us. I'm still waiting for that rooster to choose us, or the bee to choose
Rooster
us.
bee.
Rooster, I don't know.
the bee wants a bigger yard.
Can the bee? Well, if we get a bigger yard, then
Yeah.
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 But we have a hill, so it could live down. But you know what the nice thing about the bees are? I've done some research that if you get the hive and you put it in the middle of your chicken coop, the chickens help eat some of the some type of mite that
Really?
affects bees, and starts with a V. Molly and Tobin would know what that is.
But they don't eat the bees?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Like, so the bees and the chickens get along okay in the same environment, and the chickens organically just migrate to eat the...
There's some type of mite
mites?
that will hang around the bottom of a beehive. Raise it up a little bit, but the chickens will eat those mites.
You put bees out there, half your family's not going to come out and
depending on which half that is, it might be a good thing.
Okay.
Me, for one.
Oh, the family that lives here.
Yes. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was being facetious that way because I love you guys. I love you all. You okay?
Yeah,
you.
me.
Oh, you okay?
I
Gotcha.
know Paxton ain't gonna. Bees. He's done. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Paxton's great.
He's a good kid.
Yeah.
He's probably no. I don't know if he can hear us or not. Paxton.
He's got
He's got his earphones on.
when he
Yeah.
games. Okay, so I got to ask. I see the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you a veteran?
I am.
Awesome. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Where were you stationed out of?
I went to boot camp in Orlando. My ship was stationed out of Alameda, California. I taught in New York. Just before I got out, I went to propulsion power school in Idaho. So that was my journey. But
Wow,
I
you're
was,
in all four corners basically.
Yeah, but Westpac was. I did 2 Westpacs,
East-
94 and 96.
East Coast.
East Coast.
I didn't get as far as I think farthest I got was Virgin Islands.
That's a nice stop, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was went to Great Lakes, gunner's mate.
yeah.
Went to my ship. It was in dry dock. Nuclear refuel, so that takes
Which one?
forever. It was South Carolina. CGN 37. It's razor
Oh.
blades now.
Guided missile cruisers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful ship, beautiful people.
Yeah.
But
I saw the tip
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Bow, stern. I saw one side of it.
yeah,
What side was it?
it was taken up to was it Bremerton out there, and they stripped it down, and they were part of the museum that they have out there. They cut off the nose of it and put the hull numbers back on there, and I tell you what, I darn near cried going up to it, because there was, my time in there was connected to that ship
Yeah.
and the memories of the people, and then seeing just a small section, it's like, oh man.
Yeah, we've been talking about community a lot, but then the friends that I had in the Navy, I've been out decades now, but like I still talk to those guys.
Yeah.
Like that, those are friendships to last a lifetime. So
Yeah.
thank you for your service
Yeah.
as well.
Thank you. So yeah.
I knew you'd see the hat and be like, Navy friends.
Yeah. So what was the Carl?
Carl Vincent, CVN
Okay.
70. Yeah.
Okay. I know I've heard of it. I know, obviously, being on the East Coast, didn't cross paths with
Have you ever seen the movie Top Gun?
Yep.
Filmed on it.
Ah. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
that's cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Were you on it when it filmed?
I'm not that old, but
Well, I didn't know. I wasn't sure when it filmed, so.
I think I was in junior high when that came out.
Really?
We're the same
think so.
age. I'm trying to remember where I was at.
I don't know.
Hold on. Now I'm curious. Let's see. When did Top Gun film? 1986.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were 13.
Wow. I was 16. Minus 4.
12.
She doesn't remember her age, so she's like, "How old are you?" Minus 4 from what I am. So.
Okay, so when I was pregnant with Paige, my oldest, I knew I was going to be such and such an age when I had her, and so ever since then, because I just can't. And so he tells me his age, and then I'm like, okay. It'd
Your
been
whole-
handy if I was born in like an even number, like
Right.
2000. I'd be like, oh yeah, definitely 25 because it's 2025, or no.
But it's your whole life. You've been with yourself, so you should know. Okay?
I don't like numbers. I'm not in accounting.
No.
Same.
Right, right.
'Cause
Amy,
what is
I
the number?
feel
What-
you. Yes,
You know,
I get
it's just a
that.
number. It's
Yes,
just a number.
math is not my jam.
Oh, but elderberry is.
Yes. Well
That was the
played.
best one of the
Well played.
Oh, I got the drum set then. Not the wah wah wah. Yes.
I like the buttons.
You do like
That's
buttons.
funny.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh
you
my
guys will
goodness.
have to come over this spring and summer when things are in bloom and see our backyard, and we'll give you a tour.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Ditto, you can come meet my ladies.
Would love
Would
to
love
do
to,
that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're all kind of tucked up because it's a little chilly out there right now.
For
Mhm.
sure. Yeah.
But, yeah, they're so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
So,
They are.
Well, have we missed anything? Anything else that you wanted to? I know you could sit here for hours and pick your
could.
brains on.
I'll be following your bee journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be looking for the next class.
Awesome. Yeah.
So, how do people find your Happy Hippy Homestead? You have a group, Facebook page,
Well,
website?
we
What do you
do
got?
have a Facebook page. That's been our primary platform that we've been using, but I think we're trying to shift to a couple of other different online possibilities. And so for right now, I mean, the best way is probably, if you're interested in looking at, I can send a link out to anybody that's interested, that's listening to, my email is cleanlivingforus@gmail.com. So I can send links out through the Airbnb site. That would probably be the best way. Yeah. Because you can see all the pictures of it, and there's a lot of pictures of some of the past guests and a ton of garden pictures. And our
Nice.
dogs. We love our dogs too. We have a 5-year-old border collie who is in charge of the entire yard, and he makes sure that you know that. He takes care of everything in the yard for us. And Lucy is our 6-year-old Shih Tzu Chihuahua. So she is a Chihuahua, is what we call her.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, she's sassy and a lot of fun. So, and then we have 16 and 18-year-old boys that still live at home, and then I have a 27-year-old daughter who lives in Chicago, and so yeah, we are a fun blended family learning how to homestead together, really.
Mhm.
Except the kids all, like I said earlier, they like meat, so like we're vegetarian, and they slide in the meat where they can. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Okay. Well, we'll put links up. And
Okay.
the Clean Living 4, is it just the number 4?
The number, yes. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes. Clean living with the number 4us@gmail.com.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Well, we are so glad that you guys have come and taken a ride on the King Kong Trail.
This was
and
It's a good conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. We'll definitely have to do this again, and
Yeah.
with or without cameras, and talk chickens.
Yeah. It's nice to get to know you guys a little better, too. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming in. Okay, and so Burlington, Southeast Iowa, West Central Illinois, north of Missouri. That's the state that's below us. Wherever you are from the tri-state area, thank you for joining us again on the King Kong Trail. I'm Amy. My co-host is Doug, and we will see you again next week.
All right. Have a good week.
Thank you.